Welcome to this explainer. For the absolute longest time, the medical community viewed severe optic nerve damage as a closed door. It was just an irreversible loss, and that was that. But today, we're going to explore the cutting-edge science that is actively working to pry that door wide open. We are looking right at a brand new frontier of hope in regenerative medicine, specifically through the use of stem cell therapies. To truly understand the gravity of this condition, I want you to imagine the optic nerve as a vital, high-speed electrical wire. This wire's sole job, literally its only purpose, is to carry massive amounts of visual data from your eye directly to your brain. So what happens when that wire becomes frayed or damaged or even entirely severed? Well, the data simply stops transmitting. And that is the very severe reality of optic nerve atrophy. When the nerve is compromised, the connection is completely lost, which leads to devastating vision loss. It's a silent thief of sight, really. And understanding how we might repair that main cable is hands down one of the most exciting challenges in modern medicine today. Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the vision thief, move on to traditional methods, explore the stem cell era, focus on power from the umbilical cord, and finish up with the future of medicine. Section 1. The Vision Thief, Understanding Optic Nerve Atrophy. Now, what's really interesting about this condition is that at a cellular level, it involves the progressive degeneration of ganglion cells within the retina. But the triggers for this? They are incredibly diverse. You've got atherosclerosis, which is the hardening of main blood vessels. You have physical obstructions like tumors actually pressing right on the nerve. There's anterior ischemia, meaning a severe lack of blood flow to the front of the eye, plus things like glaucoma, genetic malformations, toxicity, and vascular inflammation. It's a massively wide array of completely different medical issues, but they all lead to the exact same devastating endpoint, the destruction of nerve fibers and the death, or apoptosis, of those crucial ganglion cells. Section 2. Traditional Methods, the Search for a Cure. Once we know what's actually causing the damage, how has medicine historically attempted to manage or stop this progressive loss of sight? Well, before any intervention can even begin, doctors literally have to act like medical detectives. Discovering the exact etiology, or the root cause, is absolutely critical. They have to answer some pretty urgent questions, like, is the atrophy unilateral, affecting just one eye, or is it bilateral, affecting both? Is the condition currently stable, or is the destruction of the ganglion cells actively progressing as we speak? Answering these questions dictates the entire treatment path. Sometimes doctors only have this tiny, fleeting window of time to figure it all out before the damage becomes permanent. Catching it early is what allows them to halt or, in some cases, reverse the underlying cause before the nerve is completely destroyed. Historically, our treatments have been, somewhat limited. One method that has been utilized and studied quite a bit is acupuncture, and research shows it can be quite safe. It's actually demonstrated the ability to improve a patient's visual acuity and visual field. However, it requires highly specific techniques and incredibly exact point selection. But more importantly, while it shows some efficacy in improving function, it currently lacks the strong, widespread clinical trial evidence needed to prove it can fundamentally reverse severe structural nerve destruction. So, the crucial point here is the stark contrast between these two approaches. Traditional methods often just hit a ceiling. There is currently no specific drug designed to cure or reverse optic nerve atrophy. Traditional approaches mostly focus on managing the underlying cause or seeking slight visual field improvements. Stem cell methods, on the other hand, that is a total paradigm shift. They operate on a regenerative cellular level. We're talking about focusing on tissue induction, providing neuroprotection, and actually aiming to reverse cell death. Section 3. The Stem Cell Era, a New Frontier in Tissue Engineering. This is right where we completely pivot from just managing the damage to actively attempting to rebuild the eye's structural integrity. The true stars of this era are mesenchymal stem cells, or MSCs. Think of these little guys as our microscopic cellular electricians. They are easily harvested, easily cultured, and that makes them incredibly popular in regenerative medicine. What makes them so special is their ability to differentiate into different types of tissues, like cartilage, tendon, and adipose tissue. But for the eye, they act as a dedicated repair crew. They provide essential neuroprotection and secrete growth factors that actually stimulate the body's own internal repair mechanisms to help regenerate damaged axons. Scientists have been incredibly resourceful in figuring out where to source these cells. Bone marrow, for instance, is highly researched and very commonly utilized. Adipose, or fat tissue, is super valued because it's just very easy to harvest.
Interestingly enough, dental pulp, literally taken from baby teeth, has shown some really great promise in promoting neuroprotection and regenerating those damaged retinal ganglion cell axons. But the source that is generating massive excitement for its highly specific potential in the eye is the umbilical cord. And that's due to its incredible ability to differentiate right into corneal and retinal tissues. And this brilliantly illustrates how the rescue mission actually works at a biological level. It's essentially a step-by-step process. First, the stem cells are introduced directly to the damaged area. Second, they immediately begin secreting neurotrophic factors. Now, these are basically nutritional and growth signals for the nervous system. Third, the secretion directly protects the surviving neurons from dying off. And finally, step 4, it stimulates the surrounding native retinal cells to kickstart their own internal repair processes.
Section 4. Power from the umbilical cord, the ultimate breakthrough.
Okay, let's really narrow our focus to the true star of this research. What makes umbilical cord stem cells so uniquely powerful for ophthalmology is that they possess both mesenchymal and epithelial properties. This dual nature is absolutely vital. It means they don't just act as building blocks to regenerate tissue, they also bring powerful anti-inflammatory effects to the table. In ocular disorders where vascular inflammation is a root cause, these cells actively fight the inflammation while simultaneously laying down the groundwork to replace the damaged tissues. It's a 2-for-1 punch.
The sheer versatility of these umbilical cells is just incredible. They can transform into almost any specific tissue the eye needs to heal. They can differentiate into mature retinal cells to replace exactly what was lost to atrophy. They can become corneal cells, epithelial cells, stromal tissue, and even endothelial cells. It is essentially a universal biological toolkit for rebuilding the entire ocular system from the inside out.
Section 5. The future of medicine. Hope meets clinical reality. Now, as researchers strictly emphasize in the source material, and I quote, "Further clinical studies are necessary to evaluate long-term efficacy and safety, to clarify pharmacokinetics and provide a standardized treatment program." While the animal and early human trials bring immense, totally justifiable hope to patients who previously had none, we really do have to maintain scientific objectivity here. Before this becomes a widespread, universally available cure, the medical community needs standardized, optimized protocols to ensure it is perfectly safe and effective in the long run. We have to balance the incredible promise of the science with the rigorous demands of medical safety.
But the momentum is undeniable at this point. We are moving from a world where optic nerve atrophy was just a definitive sentence of vision loss to a world where we are actively engineering a cure. Which leaves us with one incredibly exciting question to ponder. Will umbilical cord stem cells be the final key to curing the incurable? As research continues to accelerate all over the globe, the answer is looking brighter every single day. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and definitely keep your eyes on the horizon for the next big breakthrough.